I want to be clear to the House. That is not an announcement I am happy to make. I'm proud of our pioneering record on overseas development. Mr. Speaker, I want to be very clear. The nature of warfare has changed significantly. That is clear from the battlefield in Ukraine.
That we're going to do things differently. We're going to tell the truth, even when they are hard truths.
Ladies and gentlemen, the world stands at a precipice. Global tensions are escalating, alliances are being tested, and the very fabric of international security is under threat. In this volatile landscape, the United Kingdom has made a monumental decision that will redefine its role on the global stage. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has unveiled a groundbreaking plan to bolster the nation's defence capabilities, marking the most significant military investment since the Cold War. This move is not just a response to emerging threats, but a bold statement of intent. The UK is prepared to lead, defend, and secure its future. In a charged session of Parliament, Prime Minister Starmer addressed the nation with a resolve that resonated beyond the walls of Westminster. He declared an increase in defence spending to 2.5% of the UK's gross domestic product, GDP, by 2027, with an ambitious goal of reaching 3% in the next Parliament. This translates to an additional £13.4 billion annually dedicated to fortifying the nation's military prowess. But this commitment comes with significant trade-offs, notably a reduction in the foreign aid budget from 0.5% to 0.3% of GDP. The message is unequivocal. In an era of uncertainty, national security takes precedence. Let's hear him out.
So starting today, I can announce this government will begin the biggest sustained increase in defence spending since the end of the Cold War. Yeah. We will deliver our commitment to spend 2.5% of GDP on defence, but we will bring it forward so that we reach that level in 2027. Yeah. And let me spell that out, Mr. Speaker. That means spending £13.4 billion more on defence every year from 2027. But, Mr. Speaker, we must go further still. I've long argued that in the face of ongoing generational challenges, all European allies must step up. Mr. Speaker, I want to be very clear. The nature of warfare has changed significantly. That is clear from the battlefield in Ukraine. And so we must modernise and reform our capabilities as we invest. I equally want to be very clear that, like any other investment we make, we must seek value for money. And that's why we're putting in place a new defence reform and efficiency plan, jointly led by my right honourable friends, the Chancellor and the Defence Secretary. Yeah. This investment means that the UK will strengthen its position as a leader in NATO and in the collective defence of our continent, and we should welcome that role. It is good for our national security. It is also good for the defining mission of this government to restore growth to our economy, and we should be optimistic of what it can deliver in those terms. But, Mr. Speaker, in the short term, it can only be funded through hard choices. I want to be clear to the House. That is not an announcement I am happy to make. I'm proud of our pioneering record on overseas development, and we will continue to play a key humanitarian role in Sudan, in Ukraine and in Gaza, tackling climate change, supporting multinational efforts on global health and challenges like vaccination. In recent years, the development budget was redirected towards asylum backlogs, paying for hotels. So as we're clearing that backlog at a record pace, there are efficiencies that will reduce the need to cut spending on our overseas programmes. We will do everything we can to return to a world where that is not the case and rebuild a capability on development. But at times like this, the defence and security of the British people must always come first. That is the number one priority of this government.
This decisive action is set against a backdrop of global instability. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine has reignited fears of widespread aggression, with Russian President Vladimir Putin's actions challenging the post-World War II order. The UK's commitment to increasing defence spending is a direct response to these provocations, signalling to both allies and adversaries that Britain will not stand idly by. Foreign Secretary David Lammy underscored this sentiment, emphasising the need for Europe to bolster its defences and not rely solely on external powers. The era of complacency is over. Proactive measures are now imperative. While the defence budget swells, the reallocation of funds necessitates cuts elsewhere. The reduction in foreign aid has sparked a heated debate among policymakers, humanitarian organisations, and the public. Critics argue that diminishing aid undermines the UK's moral responsibility and soft power influence. Proponents contend that in a world fraught with immediate threats, resources must be prioritised to protect the homeland. Chancellor Rachel Reeves, in her recent budget announcement, highlighted the challenges of balancing fiscal responsibility with national security imperatives. The government's stance is clear. A robust defence is the bedrock upon which all other policies rest. The infusion of funds is poised to transform the UK's armed forces. Plans include the development of the SS and AUKUS, a next-generation nuclear-powered submarine, in collaboration with Australia and the United States. This initiative not only enhances the Royal Navy's capabilities, but also strengthens strategic alliances. Additionally, investments are earmarked for cutting-edge technologies such as artificial intelligence, cyber warfare, and autonomous systems. The British Army will see upgrades to its armoured divisions, with the introduction of the Challenger 3 tanks and Ajax armoured vehicles. These advancements aim to create a more agile, lethal, and responsive force ready to face contemporary challenges. Prime Minister Starmer's announcement had significant implications for NATO. By exceeding the alliance's standard defence spending target of 2% of GDP, the UK positions itself as a leader in collective security efforts. This move is likely to influence other member nations to reassess their contributions, especially in light of recent calls from US President Donald Trump for European allies to shoulder a greater share of the defence burden. The UK's proactive stance reinforces the principle of shared responsibility and deterrence, essential components in countering adversarial threats. On the home front, the decision has elicited a spectrum of reactions. Communities benefiting from increased defence contracts anticipate economic growth and job creation. However, sectors affected by the reduction in foreign aid express concerns over potential long-term consequences, including diminished global influence and the erosion of diplomatic relationships. The government faces the intricate task of addressing these domestic concerns while maintaining its commitment to national security. Public opinion remains divided, reflecting the complex interplay between ethical obligations and pragmatic governance. As the UK embarks on this ambitious path, several critical questions emerge. How will the increased defence spending reshape the nation's role on the global stage? What are the long-term implications of reducing foreign aid on international relations and global stability? Can the government successfully navigate the economic challenges posed by this significant reallocation of resources? The answers to these questions will unfold in the coming years as the UK strives to balance its defence imperatives with its broader commitments to global peace and prosperity. The United Kingdom stands at a crossroads, making choices that will define its trajectory for decades to come. Prime Minister Keir Starmer's bold strategy to enhance defence spending underscores a commitment to safeguarding the nation's interests in an increasingly unpredictable world. This pivotal moment demands a nuanced understanding of the intricate balance between military strength, economic prudence, and moral responsibility. As the global community watches closely, the UK's actions will undoubtedly reverberate beyond its shores, influencing the future of international security and cooperation. We invite you, our viewers, to engage in this critical discourse. What are your thoughts on the UK's decision to increase defence spending at the expense of foreign aid? Do you believe this approach enhances national security, or does it compromise the nation's global standing? Share your perspectives in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth analyses and updates on this evolving story. Together, let's navigate these complex issues and contribute to shaping the future of our nation.